Claim your free AirPods today by clicking the first link in the description down below.
r/AskReddit. Who was the worst guest that stayed at your house? This dude was a family friend who my mum let in my room to play Xbox. I wasn't home at the time, so I didn't see it. But I had forgotten my phone one day. So as soon I get home I frantically look for it, as I normally would. My phone was nowhere in sight. So I was like, duck it. I'll look for it later and chill with this dude on Xbox. The dude seems nervous as duck. So start catching on to this methodica. I go through one of my drawers which had about $100 in it. And guess what? It's gone. I decide to duck with this dude. So I said my phone has a tracker app on it and that I was going to report it stolen to the police. Which was complete BS. By hey. He bought my story and was getting nervous. He goes over to his mum and speaks in his native language. So I can't understand. He did use phone and police in English. And at that point I knew he took both of them. I told my dad and he went ape on this dude. Just full on shouting at him until he started crying. Which was hilarious. He returned my stuff afterwards and just waited outside. His mother was crying profusely and kept apologizing and saying stuff like I never knew he had this side to him and there must be a reason why he stole your stuff. But I knew she was in on it too. I had no sympathy for either of those sly methodicas. You're like some kind of thief detective. So, a detective? My roommate's friend needed a place to crash while he found an apartment. We had a spare room, but he didn't want to rent it. After 3 weeks it became obvious he was trying to stay with us for free when he brought all of his clothes and stuff. So we charged him rent for next month if he planned to stay longer. Stole our box and disappeared. But he left all his stuff which was worth a lot more. We didn't bother calling the cops and just told him to bring back those bucks or he can't get his stuff. He never responded and we just made a 1k profit selling his crap. Edit, yay. Not only did I make over $1,000 for him bailing on rent, but he also helped me get my highest upvoted comment. First off, what a ducking idiot. You're supposed to get your stuff out before you steal your host's hit. So what was this stuff that was worth $1,000? Yeah, we were a little confused about it too. He had pretty nice vacuum cleaner. We already had one, so we sold his. He had some new shoes, video games, movies, and an iPad mini. He had an oscilloscope and some other devices. I think he was either an electrical or computer engineering major. Without a doubt. Hands down. The friend whose family came up to my lake house for a week. Her 10-year-old had a bedwetting problem. Understandably. No one wants to talk about that. Except when it's time to change the sheets when the guests are gone. OMG. I had to throw out a brand new mattress. Had someone do this to my parents. Ruined a $2,500 down sofa. Except we were aware of the problem and gave her an inflatable mattress to sleep on. She got up in the middle of the night and moved onto the forbidden couch. Super soaked it and told no one. Edit, moved moved. Definitely should have ducking made her pay for it. My sister. Her 10-year-old went through all our DVDs and stuffed about 6 under his coat as they left. One fell out and we discovered the rest. My sister's reaction? Boys will be boys. Are you kidding me? Edit, had to fix the grammar because Nazis. That little boy is going to get the head kicked out of him when he's older. Sad because it won't really be his fault. His mom will be at fault for letting him do that hit in the first place. It could have been a very good time to teach the kid about stealing, not asking, etc. But she is one of those granular homeschooling. Let the kids learn on their own whackers. Oh, and she vaccinated her first kid who was clearly autistic before the shots. But she blames the vaccinations and won't vaccinate her other 8-year or her newborn. She plans to have 2 more kids. Sigh. My mum. She helped pay the deposit for me. Then treated it like she owned the place whenever she needed somewhere to stay. To the point that my GF at the time threatened to move out over the way she was treated. Whenever I raised the issue, she would remind me that without her I wouldn't have a place to live, etc. I sold the place at auction eventually. Gave her back her deposit. and cut her out of my life. Not purely over this, you understand. But it was a big part of it. Edit. I know that Ray said being a narcissist is a thing. Thanks though. Wow, this reminds me of my parents too. When I moved out into own place, my mum and dad helped me out on 2 consecutive weekends, giving the rooms a quick coat of paint. In their eyes, helping me with my house equals invite themselves over at any time. 3 weeks settled into my new place, and every evening they would show up unannounced. They would always have one of their friends with them also for no ducking reason. I've had a hard day at work and it's 8 PM, can't you just leave me in peace? But no. It still continued despite my very blatant hints about giving a person space. About 2 months went by, and they were still annoying as ever. Then one day I get a call from my then girlfriend who was staying over saying she thinks my parents are in the kitchen, and she has no idea what to do. They had let themselves in my house through the back and just started moving it around while I was at work. My girlfriend was still upstairs in bed and hadn't met them yet. I immediately went home for lunch and asked them what the duck they were doing. They gave me the blankest look, as if it was normal to barge into someone's home while they aren't there. I was major pissed off and didn't speak to them for a month. Also changed the locks, and I finally think they got the message. Edit. Some people are messaging me calling me an asshole, etc. For many personal reasons I don't have a great relationship with them. There are countless times in my life when they have been control freaks who would not let me be an individual. Moving out was a very big thing for me, and I wasn't comfortable with them trying to take over on my new freedom. The top post in reply to this sums it up very well. I'm a grown man. Let me live my life. Sorry, it's just the way it is. My mum is all about control. I didn't realize it for a long time. But she was only happy when she had something to hold over my head. I think she realized that giving me money towards a deposit was going to be one of her last chances to keep some level of control over me once I left home. I would have been happy renting a flat or buying somewhere cheap that I could afford. But she wore me down into believing that a house would be a better investment. I mean, ultimately it was. But I still regret the damage it caused to my relationship with my ex. I would come home and find my mum had cooked some stanky as fish in my kitchen. Because it was healthy, the house would stink for days at a time afterward. There is nothing worse than feeling like you don't have control of your own life, especially in your own home. My partner at the time's brother spent the whole week trying to walk in on me changing / in the shower. That sounds like some Michael Kelso tactics. Whoops. Sorry. My mom was my worst guest ever. We moved her because she lost her job and was staying with random people. She never offered to help with anything. Left my house a pigsty all times. When she would get her unemployment, she'd buy herself the most random crap. Stayed up all hours of the night and got incredibly hitty in the morning if my young children would wake her up, and would purposely get in awful fights with my husband because she hated him and didn't want me married to him. I asked her if she would watch my children so I could go back to work to help support her, and she freaked out that I wasn't planning on paying her to babysit. After 2 years, I really tried to ignore it and continue helping. We had to kick her out. I think your husband is a saint. Yeah, to put up with that for 2 years and not kill her, that's amazing. A woman named Misty. My roommate met her at a party and invited her back. She stayed the night. Yeah, whatever. But then didn't leave the next day. She just hung out. Even asked if we were going to buy more soda. She stayed the night again. On the couch. 2 days later we drove her to a family member just to get rid of her. Edit. I've been asked if this happened in several different states. This happened in Alabama. Apparently. This behavior is common for people named Misty. Edit. The last I knew, she'd gotten knocked up by some biker dude. That baby is probably old enough to have to decide between Trump and Sanders. Hey, don't be so hard on the poor girl. She has no way to get around without her bike. Damn electric mice. Tries to ride her bike indoors. You can't do that here. I'm gonna list all the hit this aunt has done in my house. Pissed on my rug. Hit in my kitchen. Broke my drywall. Pissed in my bed. Made my dog bleed twice. physically attacked me when I didn't give him some of my fries, pulled down my Christmas tree on Christmas Eve, damaging many presents in the process. I raised this damn cat from birth and this is the ducking treatment I get. I'm sick of it. Why the hell do I still love the little ducker so much? Sounds like a catastrophe. Hey, no bad is perfect. D. My sister was supposed to stay just the weekend to help after my hysterectomy. I had to kick her out after 3 months because it became painfully obvious she relapsed. Drugs. The last straw was when she became upset with me and knowing that I'm allergic to perfume. She went through the entire house, spraying her perfume. I had to stay away from my own house for 24 hours. My poor husband and children. I've known quite a few junkies, but this thread is starting to make me think they all love perfume, and I never noticed. It hides the stench of deep shame. An ex-friend. I smelled something horrible when I was cleaning the guest bathroom after she left. It was like a mix of fish and rotten eggs. It was so strong it made me gag. And then I found the source. It was her used panties. Edit. And she had lice too. I believe. I noticed it when she was picking nits from her hair and squishing them between her fingernails. I would hear them pop. It was disgusting. I had to throw the pillow she used. Edit. I threw away the pillow because I panicked. The sheets and towels went straight to the washing machine 60C. About the nits. You do hear them pop if you are close enough. She was picking and popping them, unaware, I suppose, while we were having a conversation. It was unnerving. Sorry for those who got grossed out by my story. It happened 6 years ago, and I still get nightmares time and again. I'll let a mutual friend sleep in my bed with me after a night out. Found some angry bad pants in my room a few months later. No idea how they got there. Eventually found out he had pissed himself and decided to take his pants off and hide them. After I found out, he kept trying to take me on a date to apologize. Then shagged my sister and started trying it on with me again. No chance. My sister's boyfriend. I have never actually hated anyone until I was forced to live with this guy for 2 weeks. He was an ungrateful prick and extremely disrespectful to my parents and sister. I'll refer to him as MM. Was staying at my parents' house because my sister inadvertently got him kicked out of his aunt's house. She felt bad, so she asked my parents to let him stay for some time until they could find other living arrangements. He brought over all his stuff and made himself right at home quickly. He set up his Xbox in the living room and played Destiny all day because he didn't have a job. He's 27. He would constantly complain about the internet being laggy and would tell anyone who was listening that our internet is hitty. He would constantly, at least 3-4 times, take an entire loaf of pepperoni bread, fill it with cheese, bake it, eat some and then throw it away. He literally screamed at my mother that she was disrespecting him when she called his music screamo and had a hissy fit. He and my sister shared a room right next to mine. And at night I could hear him singing to her. Not so bad, except he proclaimed that he was incredibly talented and never missed a chance to mention it. The best part about his stay though was when he told me that aliens were on Earth, helped build the pyramids, and altered our DNA so that we evolved faster. He would also constantly tell my sister what to do and was very controlling. My sister now lives with him in an apartment. He recently crashed her car and fled the scene. I hate him. Edit. To clarify a few things. No, this is not my sister's first relationship. She was, technically is, married. But they split when he couldn't make time for her. We've all told her how much we dislike him and the way he treats her, but she defends him. They've only been dating for a few months. I think from around July 2015 or so. She didn't get him kicked out on purpose. She said something to his cousin, who was also living with his aunt, and the cousin didn't like it. The aunt said something to M about my sister and M flipped on his aunt and that got him kicked out. Edit 2. There was also the time M told my brother and I that he had seen the answers to life through his third eye after he smoked a lot of weed. Also, M thinks he's a genius. My father is a network engineer and is the boss of it. He's really good with computers and technology. Yet M insisted that he could fix my brother's phone. My brother broke it after he routed it wrong, after my dad couldn't fix it. M is ducking stupid and could not fix it. I hate him. TL. Dr. Pepperoni bread. Not gonna lie, I'm more interested in this pepperoni bread you mentioned. You are not alone. Probably not as bad as other stories in this thread, but my girlfriend and I went away for a week and a half, and a friend of ours volunteered to house it and take care of our pets, 2 cats and 2 lizards. We made sure they knew what to do and wrote a care sheet for each animal and what they needed to do to keep the animals healthy while we were away. Feed the cats, clean their litter, chop up veggies for the lizards and feed them bugs, and give the lizard a quick bath if she poops, because she'll definitely run around in it. So after we ran our friend through our daily routine to care for our pets, we said our goodbyes and went away. When we came back, our apartment looked nice, but there was a heavy cat piss / cat hit smell all over the apartment. And when I checked on my lizard, she had hit all over her underside. Not cool. Bearded dragons have salmonella in their feces, and this meant she ran a risk of getting very sick if she ran over her food. We ended up having to take her to the vet for a $300 vet bill for tail rotten to check for food poisoning. The cat litter was literally solid. When confronted, he said he had just forgotten to clean it once before he left, but it looked exactly like a week and a half worth of 2 cats' pee-poos. Our one cat was so fed up with the amount of pee-poos in the litter that we saw him peeing on the floor, which has never once happened before or since this incident. It was clear to us that he did next to nothing to care for our pets like he promised he would. He just volunteered to stay in our apartment because it was an hour closer to his new job, and completely used us. We used to be great friends, but I haven't seen them more than once in the 2 years since this incident. Hard to trust someone after they pull a stunt like that. Edit. No, I did not go after them for the vet bill. I yelled at them when we got back, and they knew they ducked up. I knew I wouldn't get the money from them because they're stubborn as duck. Just took it as a down payment on not really being friends anymore. This whole situation is why I pay professionals to care for my animals whenever I go out of town now. Pee-poos. My dog is addicted to kitty pee-poos.